Hello everyone, welcome to the Nordic Archery Support with me, Runor's, bringing you yet another Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. And I do have to say now, I am a little bit sorry, I have not yet received the microphone I ordered, so as you might hear from the sound quality, it still is the usual voice. So, I have actually been scouring through the replay vault, and I think I've found a good one for you now. With quite some high-ranking players here from what it looks like. It's a ladder match, and it's a Thug4Life versus Silent. And now we're going to see how the players are positioned, though, as you can see. Down here we have Silent going Aeon in a very lovely blue, as is the traditional one. And then we have a Thug4Life going Aeon as well in a blood red. So we got Aeon versus Aeon here now on the Saltrock colony map. It's a map I have only played a few times before. I have found it very open and it's quite diverse, so you can get a lot of flanking maneuvers, you can get a lot of air, land or even navy if you want to be so, what you should call it, rude. But we're gonna now plus things up to speed too, because let's face it, as I always say, things can get a little bit slow in the beginning as players now build up their base so that they can get as many units out as they possibly can. And we can see now that a Thug4Life is building up his power source, so he will be able to get enough power to sustain his land factories and his expansion. And the same goes for Silent over here. Now, I haven't really seen too much of Silent and a Thug4Life, and I seriously hope this is not an old replay, at least not too old. I have sometimes been scouring through the replay vault and found that the replay sometimes might be a little bit old, but we'll have to find that out, and if it is, I do apologize, but we'll just have to let it pass. And that's just why I always want you guys to send me replays if you can. Send me replays, send as many replays as you can, just don't be afraid if you might think they're a bit silly and stuff like that. It is always nice to have extra replays on hand. And we can see here now that one of the flares to a Thug4Life is taking out the engineer to Silent that was building a hydrocarbon power plant, and he was not allowed to finish that. We see here though that a Thug4Life is now moving his engineer over to this side and probably going to try to build on the hydrocarbon power plant. I'm not too sure. He hasn't made a build order for that place. Probably has enough energy at the moment. As we can see here, 200 energy on the verge though, but still looking good. Silent is on minus at the moment, so he needs to sort his energy levels out as he just did when I just said it. And a bomber is out here for a Thug4Life, but he will lose it to the Conservator following after the bomber to the Aeon. I gotta say, to the most certain extents, I prefer the Cybran bomber or the UEF bomber. The Aeon bomber is very useful because of that small impact and very high damage and the stun effect, but for me it's all about the UEF and Cybrans. I like the Aeons, but for me they're more, you could call them, you know, the hippies of the far future. So, well, you know, militant hippies. Is this a point where I'm supposed to joke very heartily about all the extreme feminists, or people that misuse the word, I suppose you would call it. But I'm getting ahead of myself now. We should not blend politics into video games. That would be wrong indeed. And now we see that a bomber from Silent is sent out in retaliation, and probably seems like he's taken out an engineer or sort. Yes, he has. So that bomber managed to take at least one engineer out. And we can see though on the northern side, a Thug4Life seems to have been more well established with 3 mass extractors up here in favor of Silent's 1 mass extractor. 1 Aurora is moving out on this side, but the 2 Auroras here to take it out. On down here on this side we can see that Silent has moved his commander down here, where a Thug4Life is now exchanging fire between Silent's own commander, but a Thug4Life has managed to take out all of this mass and reclaimed it for his own use. How are we on the mass reclaim at 6 minutes? A Thug4Life has reclaimed about 1062 mass, while Silent has about 1300 mass, so far we got a slight lead for Silent in the mass reclaim game. And now we see though that ATHUG4Life is taking a lot of damage here, and he's going into a yellow, 3,500 health points, taking a lot of fire, but there is an Eruptor here to hold off Silent's own commander as he retreats. Well, that will be ATHUG4Life, and now Silent retreats with his own commander. So far, it seems to be a lot of units on the map for both sides. I'm going to now go down again to 0 because now there's a lot of happening here. We see a small run by here from Silent's own units, and on this side we can see that ATHUG4Life is sending in his own forces into quite a deep territory into Silent's main base. An engineer is here trying to get a Eruptor online, but I don't think he will be able to get that online when there's so many Auroras on the field firing at these targets. There's not a lot of Auroras here, but there are some Auroras resting here on when they get off the conveyor belt. Pardon that, just had to swallow a bit. It's very difficult sometimes. You gotta talk, you gotta constantly be talking about stuff, and it can make things interesting when you try to speak without having a source of water nearby, as I constantly find myself doing, not having enough water. But now we see that Silent is sending his commander quite a lot forward here, killing off Auroras. It only takes 2 shots to take out the Auroras here, so he's gonna get perhaps a nice ranking of veterancy soon as he kills more units off. But now 2 Eruptors here have been firing at Silent, and he goes back into the water. And now we see though that Tech 1 naval factory is being produced here for Silent, but did we see the same? There's an engineer over here for ATHUG4Life, but it doesn't look like he's building a lot with it. But as I'm saying that, I suddenly noticed that here is one of the naval factories resting idly and building submarines for ATHUG4Life, and he has already gotten one out, and Silent is taking quite a lot of fire here and is getting a rank of veterancy right now, skipping up 1,000 health points up to 5,000, but is going rapidly down due to Aurora fire here. And now a Sylph is resting here at the bank, so that if Silent retreats, he will be constantly hit by submarine fire. Other than that, it looks like it's a stalemate in that way that ATHUG4Life controls this part of the map while Silent controls this. Eco-wise, we see that ATHUG4Life seems to be doing okay on eco, nothing red, nothing that sort. Silent is constantly producing, going a little bit below his normal eco. But how do we see though? His command is going well into 3,000, now below the yellow threshold, going into the red, and constant reinforcements from ATHUG4Life is putting a lot of pressure on Silent here, and he needs to get his commander out of there, but that's a lot of Auroras following him. But there's a Sylph coming in, but I don't think that will be enough, because a second submarine is coming now, and as you can see though, the embarkment here is very low, so his commander is sticking up all the time. And now we can see though that more of these units are coming in here, taking up a lot of fire. He's shooting all they can at him, and he's going well into the red here, 700, 600, 500, and going steadily down, and I think that will be the end of it. And at the 10 minutes and 22 seconds, Silent has been taken out by ATHUG4Life, overextending quite a lot, and ATHUG4Life saying, "You had me," with some blocking. And I do have to say that if Silent had not overextended that much, he could actually have ended up carrying the day, but ATHUG4Life was starting now a push yet again, so that might be for discussion. I'm not too sure, but it's a very short match for today. I have just thought I wanted to get something out for you guys. There has been very little activity for me lately. I do apologize for that, but I have had work and all that sort of stuff. But that's not what you want to hear. You want to see a good match, and I think this was a very nice one. It's a very short one, but something you can watch during your coffee breaks. So, or whatever you fancy for a drink. So, I'm gonna leave this video here now, and thank you guys for watching this. If you liked this video, press that like button, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.